Hi guys, we're back with Bantercast. I'm here with not sick man Zodi, and I'm here with the Toy dude, and that explained this guy again as well. Yeah, no problem. This is the monthly podcast we do talk about JP stuff and things that happen between now and prior, like mid month, and what's coming up. So, let's see. We talked about last time we were here. I think me and 40 talked about Jack Garland, and it was like shortly after Jack Garland came out, and we saw how ridiculous his damage is. I don't believe that's right. He's not the best character. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And yeah, yeah. The only downside I would say I would that he kind of holds him back is that he needs to break to get like his other his follow up, which is like I would say 60% of his damage. The other 60%. Yeah, he's only viable in the last in the new one. The other two, he's not viable at all in at all. Yeah, first one you can sort of make him work, but he's you're missing out on a lot of damage that he could potentially be doing because no follow up, no negative brave, and the green cube monster you can't even break him or do damage because you're hitting ones, and he only takes brave damage from magic. So yeah, I I believe that these the Spiritus fights are still the hardest fights in the game. What about you? Yeah, yeah, it's a fair fight. Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of them they're heavily tied towards like that feature character. Like with Tifa, it makes that the first one with Tifa was makes it make it a whole lot more doable. If not, then you had to I forgot who you had to rely on if you didn't have her. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I saw yours. You use Theodore, which is like, oh, 40's gonna like that because that's a character we haven't seen in like ever. Mm-hmm. So did you guys vote for Beatrix at far? Were you able to get it? I did not. I put like 400 tickets into it, got nothing from it. Yeah, I put a lot of tickets in and tried to get it, but I couldn't get it. It's like I saw the what was coming with like the off turn meta damage. Like, yeah, I want to get it. It's like I really wish I could get it, but I couldn't get it. It's a good FR, and her Beatrix is starting to. It's like very handy with like these off turn like damage meta teams. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Instead, they're making it you get like a really good benefit of increasing more and more instead of just offloading it in BT phase, which is yeah you can do that as well, but you're heavily but if you let them take a turn or the bosses get too greedy, then that added damage stacks up really nicely. All right, all right. So yeah, so I mean the Beatrix event wasn't so bad. I mean I didn't have any trouble. I think I just like stomped it with Jack Garland and usual like easy team with like Luna Freya and friends. So I mean I've been having this like um was it unintentional competition with Shadow where me and him tried to compete who can beat the new fights with in less turns, but I always cheat because I use Luna Freya. Hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean anything. As long as you beat it, you beat it. Yeah. Yeah, hmm I mean, I consider Tifa still overall better DPS than Jack Garland, even though she can potentially squeeze out more damage. Or Jack Garland can squeeze out a little bit more damage than Tifa. Yeah. Oh, that one, yeah. She was MVP. Yeah, she doesn't matter because she has so much Brave Gate or Bravery Fund on her skills that she goes from like 0 to max cap because it's insane. Because it stacks with Brave Gain and whatnot. Oh, speaking of which, this is I think the last month where I can fix my Ultima weapon screw up because I bought 4 of the Ultima gloves on accident. Yeah, so mm, mm-hmm. But what was the next one? Oh yeah, Rydia. If I know, I couldn't. I have to pick and choose because Jack only took a lot of my gems and tickets, and so did Beatrix. So I couldn't pull for Rydia for her, but I know 40 did, and he's been using her quite often, right? Mm-hmm. So so how does Galoof and Edge like work in the same team? Do you still benefit off of like both follow ups, or do you only get one? Uh, yeah. Hmm. I mean, what? I mean, did you pull for video Zodi? Hmm. All right. Um, because I didn't really know anything about Video, and I know 40 has like team comps that he's been using with it, with like Aloof. Let's see. The next one was the the big event with like Cloud Darkness with a Roha FRBT and Unionite FR. Um, I I was going to go in this like event with like just skipping it entirely because I mean initially I thought, oh cool, Roha is like similar to like Jack Garland's BT where she does a follow up, or it's like is it going to be like a beefed up version of like Snow's BT where instead of like Snow refunds every single HP attack, or she just adds another HP damage to every single dump, but apparently it only adds one additional HP dump at the very end of all the HP dumps. So it's like extra 200k, which is just okay when you compare it to what we currently have. Yeah, we got spoiled from Jack Garland. She's a good support, just not as cool as what we currently have. And I said this before, like not all characters are going to be equal. Some of them are going to have cooler, shinier toys than others, and Iwahara does just happen to not have. Got a little bit skimped, got a lighter bit of like the cool, fun stuff that she could have potentially have. Have you guys been using Unite? Yeah, I ended up getting Zephyr, but I haven't built it yet either. But I don't think I'm gonna build it at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he's the start of the BT rework, so some people didn't think his BT rework was like enough. I mean, like, but I thought it was good enough because his BT didn't miss wasn't missing much. It was just HP cap up, which I thought was enough. And he got Ice Enchant, so it's even better for the entire party. Yeah, I think people are just forgetting that his BT rework isn't the overall like most important thing. I think the most important thing is his actual rework, which is much more substantial than his than this rework, than his BT rework, because he does a lot more, way more, a lot more damage with his current rework than prior, which was yeah. He could, I mean, he could have got barely anything and it would have been significant, but his damage output in Ninja Stance is really nice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. His only downside is his ice stance wasn't seems kind of like lacking. His ice stance, I mean, as cool as with like all the damages with like his magic and being able to swap between that, it's just not as cool compared to, well, at least in terms of damage output. Like his ninja stance, he like repeats it twice, and with the EX, so his damage there is like a million, over a million, versus like Ice is like only a couple 100,000, if I believe right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the other thing was, oh yeah, how did the Cloud Darkness fight treat you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I it took me a while to figure out like the go to like what worked and what didn't work. On like I tried to like nuke it down with DPS, but it's like yeah, that's not working. Like this boss has a ton of HP. Like I tried to get it as much as like low as possible, but it just wasn't working out. Like I tried the Jack Garland strat. I think boss was immune to break. Is like okay, it got to a certain point, but it wasn't good enough. And I would just like die afterwards because there's that annoying aura of like you get delayed one turn if you take a turn if you do an action if her FR is like 30% filled or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, one thing was to notice that this is not a normal fight. It was a six man. So our options of who we could bring was very, very wide. So this was very, very interesting trying to figure out who worked in which phases of the fight because oh yeah, there's one thing was she swapped between being like heavily resistant to like melee and physical attacks to magic. So it was, I mean, it was obvious too when she was swapped which one she was weak to, based on the tentacles. Like tentacles would keep healing up no matter how much damage you dealt it if she was in magic. But then during when she was vulnerable to like melee and physical, she those tentacles would die. And I think they did like a lot of damage if you didn't kill them off, something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would light on Celeste for the traps. Mm-hmm. It's just keeping, but just finding a way to like take her out, swap her out for someone that would be able to handle like both damage and keeping you alive while in the melee portion of the fight because it's like I want to keep her because she's keeping me so like my HP topped off and taking no damage and taking all the blunt blows of Cloud Darkness. Looking back, I should have probably just like swapped her for like Zack and then just uses BT. Mm-hmm. Um, but yeah, that was like pretty minimal when it got to that point because the traps were doing like maybe a couple 100k depending on how much Brave Celeste had when she had after the last trap because of Brave refund and whatnot. Yeah, it yeah, because you just swap between his two stances, which was supposed to take care of all of it. I mean, but it's like cool, but it's also expansive, so it's easier. But I but it's much way much easier than compared to like Spiritus fights. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. But for Machina FR, I got his FR. I had to pity it, but I ended up getting like 3 Roha BTs along the way, which was cool. I mean, like 400k got me potentially 15 BT tokens. I mean, I'm still gonna keep one Roha BT just for collection purposes, but if I happen to need to sell it, I might have to. Kind of like how I did with the OPT. I still have Yuri BT because I end up finding a way to not need is just to keep it around and find tokens to get it. Well, as a Tifa BT around that time or Noah. Yep. So yeah, Mach yeah Machina FR and BT is. I mean BT is the same. His I thought Machina was going to get a rework or something, but apparently he didn't need it at all. He, yeah, he's really good. He has like a his FR is pretty similar to Core's, except his has like 3 conditions instead of 2 conditions, like Core does. And the third condition is like oh yeah, when he uses the a change HP attack with low or high turn rate down, he his FR percentage goes up like 90%, which is huge. And his off turn like FR buildup is also very strong because he does 2 follow-ups with his EX and FR, so that's 50% whenever he gets attacked. Mm-hmm. Yep, 50% on just like not even on your turns, unlike when bosses get greedy, which for this Spiritus fight was very handy. Yeah, I ended up using him for this Spiritus fight, so that was very good. Yeah, his damage is very good right now because of all the stuff he has. Um, so for the next event, Fusoya, did you end up getting him? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you didn't get him, you're not really missing anything either. Or you don't want someone like Cam because he gets kind of cucked with the ice enchant that he has. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got end up getting his full kit after with like some leftover tickets from the Spiritus, so I might so I'll build him later if I need to, but yeah, I think his kit just is pretty good. I mean, he's something, but he practically has like two F4 animations in his built into his kit with Golbez and Fusoya, and then who was his other? Oh yeah, Astrago, old man power. Mm-hmm. Yeah. After his event, we're caught up to current stuff with like Ash, FRMBT, and then the Spiritus. I end up getting all of Ash's full kit. What about you? Yeah. Yeah, only downside is her BT animation is from Revenant Wings, and I looked at it as like, what the hell is this? Is like, is this from 12? Is like, I don't remember this from 12. And then it was you or Sladen or Sherlock that showed me like the Revenant Wings animation is like, oh, yeah, this doesn't look that great. Yeah, yeah. But her BT effect is really strong though. So I'll read off to you what the BT effect is, cause it is pretty loaded. So BT effect, she triggers a follow up after she attacks. I got this mixed up and I thought she had a follow up to everyone's attack, which would be busted, but I mean, it makes sense, but she basically pretty much has something similar, like as many HP dumps as like, not as much as Jack Garland, but, or Tifa, but like a good amount, where she's like a stronger DPS unit now. Besides that, she gets, usual Brave damage up, Brave cap up, HP cap up, overflow, and all excess HP healed converted to Brave, which is. I don't think she. I mean, I forgot if she heals or not, or has HP regen on, but I don't know. I don't know her kit that well because I never used her much, but I'll figure it out once I play with her more. But the two biggest things is that she puts on in. This is like similar to Vincent's BT with like auras. She puts on cannot buff the the bosses cannot buff and they cannot gain brave. So it's Vincent's and Golbez's BT effects in one BT. So I'm also wondering, is like this means that this kind of sort of invalidates somewhat Vincent and Golbez, and even makes Golbez even BT even more like less relevant because this lasts longer, has better buffs, and she's a support character and helps the party more. It lasts 6 turns, but it's not that long. But it's long enough to where it's like it's strong enough to where like it can handle all these buffs and all these effects. If it lasts any longer, then this would have been well. Then she would have to be the character would either have to be really fast, like Luna Freya, or too strong to where it has to have a short turn duration like Sephiroth. Yeah, so you can kind of well, true. She has instant turn rate with her HP plus when she uses her ability, the Queen Order. Yeah, I yes. Yeah, it's good. You just don't press the she gives a buff to everyone when she uses her FR, so you don't have to press that skill to keep the buff up. But yeah, I like her. I can fully BT plus her yet because I BT plus Machina, so the gap is not a big enough to where I can do both yet or have enough events. Yes. Hmm. I'm Yeah, I'll tell you how after on next month's podcast episode how strong she is or how good she is, depending on how these events treat us. If they start resisting Holy and Thunder. Yeah. Yeah. So the Spiritist fight. You and I both agree that this fight was nowhere near as bad as the first two, or it's like the third is the quote unquote the easiest Spiritist of the three. Yeah, but yeah, that very high turn rate, and also therefore puts speed down or on your team, so they're going to have fast turns in whether you like it or not. So key things for this fight. A good tank will keep you alive for this fight. Like Gladio is starting to become very popular. Unfortunately, Celeste doesn't work for this fight because the birds don't only take damage and will absorb all other elements if it's not holy or thunder. Yeah, if you stun them when you get to that 10%, 9% mark, if you have FR up, you have to wait till your FR light turns off, and then they can go into their face. And also, they have to not be paralyzed or cannot act debuffs on, as well as If you're in a summon or BT phase, that also does not work. You have to be outside of it, and then that takes your turn, and then they do their shenanigans. Like, yeah. Because it's sort of tight on turns. You have 50 actions, which doesn't seem like, which seems long enough, but when you take into account that these bosses have, let me double check. I feel like they have like a 220 million each, which is a lot. But then you take into account that their gimmick at the very end adds 40%, so it's like, on paper it's even more. You have 120 million, so it's 180 million each, roughly around that point. So they have a total of 360 million HP, which is insane. Yeah, I should have brought Ramu because, for me, so let's talk about the teams that you and I both used. I used Machina, Core, and Gladio. What about you? I think you said it earlier. Oh, yeah. So my plan was, I mean, I used the same team as someone that I saw, which was, well, I saw it on a different Discord, and it's like, okay, I can make this work then, because I wanted to go a little bit faster. I didn't want to AFK the fight, but it was a bit of both. So I figured out the timing based on another content creator too, because you probably might have seen him in 40's Twitch and Discord. He made a video and showed us like, okay, I can see what I was doing wrong. Part of this fight is having the right call abilities as well. If you don't have Ash, having the three big ones for Holy and Thunder Enchant is Kryl for her LD call, Minru with his LD because he has his regular just gives Holy Enchant for the one who used his 35 CP call, and his LD call gives Holy Enchant to the party for 3 turns. And last one is, who was the last one? Oh, Ash. Yeah. I think is water as well. Yeah. It doesn't override. I know. I tried to figure out. It's like, oh, maybe I can override Celeste's Ice Enchant with Holy. It's like, no, it doesn't matter. If Zorb takes priority over weakness. So yeah. So yeah, main thing about this fight is timing when you use your LD calls. If you have to time them, main thing is when they're blue, they absorb every single element and resist every single non-elemental attack, except for if you are enchanting Holy or Thunder, and that only lasts for a short amount of time, like maybe 20% of their HP, and then they swap into red phase, where you cannot gain any brave, which seems annoying, but this is the easiest part of the fight because you can break them, and yeah, they'll stay in this fight in that form for the majority of the fight until you push them down to 9%. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, timing the LD calls can, like for me, I had made a like 9-day difference because Machina went from hitting like only maybe 100k with his BT up to hitting 800 to like a couple million with his BT up, just because I was messing up and didn't realize how long the LD call effects last, and when they start when it doesn't phase out and they start getting a very tanky brave gains. Yeah, Machina's FR really helped. Core's FR was sort of there just for filler, but Core is a big help for this fight because they do a lot of AoE attacks, so Core just keeps on following up and counter, so that builds up Machina's FR. And then Machina does his follow up, does it twice, so that's 50% from Machina, 10% total from Core, and then another 5% from Gladio, so that's 65% every single one of their on their turns, which is like a couple million HP shaved off every single turn on each of their whenever they attack. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not the fast team comp, because the fastest team comp I've seen that can clear it ridiculously fast is Hope. I think it was Sophie and Anna Crow. Yeah, I think it was or it might have been Kane. Is it one of those two? I think those two can be interchangeable with Kane or Sophie, because you do Hope shenanigans, you build up the FR to ridiculous numbers, and a Crow does her thing with the mech and just nukes the ever living hell out of their HP, because she doesn't care about Brave Gain, because her mech does like couple hundred Brave on each hit anyway, and so it's just murdering the hell out of the birds and turning them into fried chicken. Yeah, I made the mistake as like, oh, she's just okay DPS for an LD character. But then I forgot that these fights that we've been getting are heavily like what's it called? Oppressive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Hope and Crow are very good for this fight. How did you tackle this fight? Because you said you made Jack Garland work. Elaborate how you made him work. Yeah. Mm, most of the time, it's not going to work out, because it's like I got to that point like around 35 actions. Like, yeah, I can't do another 60 million or a total 120 million and 15 actions. It's just not going to work out with not another BT phase. Yeah. Yeah, both of them. Yeah, both auras are up, so you have to deal with both of them. But one of them can be broken, one of them can't. The blue one is always the most annoying one to deal with. The red one is basically your HP sponge that can bolster up your brave to do a lot of damage if you need it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh yeah, too bad we couldn't hear 40's like version how he tackled that fight. But also we would have like went over his reserve time that we had for him with him anyway. But okay, I mean this the last part is gonna be pretty fast. But Size FR, she's with pain. The FR seems okay. The lazy returns conditions are like when you do a dark command or a dark attack occurs outside of turn order, so her trap. And when a turn passes with the character having a stacked buff or overhead, and she has the generic HP cap up and HP damage up if her FR is up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It lasts for 12 action. Yeah, it lasts for 12 actions, which is long, but sort of not long enough. If you get what I'm getting. I'm not sure. It's yeah. All I know is that her problems with her kid is that her buffs do not last long enough for her to monopolize it. Stay alive. Like you have to go follow a very specific like a skill rotation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's okay. That's how I just put it. Um. So Strawberry FR. So he's paired up with Kamari. So apparently the connection is blue mages, which yeah makes sense. But then also you have like animal guy and old man. It's like okay, that's a little bit different. Like not easy to spot the connection. But his yeah, go ahead. His FR just like breaks and re-breaks. So the conditions for his FR is magic command and attacking broke or breaking or attacking a broken target. One big thing is that someone was speculating what this was. Does it trigger twice if you have his EX buff or his LD buff? And the answer is no, it does not. Which yeah, if it did, then that would be broken. But also, I would have been like, I would welcome it. I mean, that'd be very unique for him. I've been hella down for a random 3 million DPS like dump. But apparently that wasn't in the works. I mean, he's only LD. I don't see why they couldn't do it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, bring Ash or Lloyd to speed it up because those two seem to be the best case, and also his hardest hitting skill is the EX. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Uh. Yeah, definitely. Um. After him is Jesse. Some people are happy. It seems like the vocal minority is not happy. I'm like, but everyone, and I keep hearing is like, where's Riku? Where is Red 13? It's like, how come we are these characters like they've been data mined? If anyone mentions like data mine, they'd be like, well, you're not supposed to be looking in that shit anyway. Why are you guys looking in there? It's like that's unofficial, like speculated information. That's not. It's like we don't have any obligations to give those characters just because we want, just because you guys asked for them. It's like at the same time, at least it's from a game that everyone knows about, and it's from a recent game. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 7 is definitely the poster board when people think about Final Fantasy, at least. Yeah. I thought that I have no idea. I never played remake. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe they might give us both costumes, so then you can think about both of them at the same time. But at the same time, I mean, like I won't be able to tell what Jesse this is from because I can't read Japanese. And if anyone is willing to even figure that out, then they can say, but I can't figure it out. I don't think anyone has the time to translate that anyway. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they didn't give us any information on Jessie, so all we know is that she's coming near the end of June, so it'll be with the next BT character. So whoever that's gonna be, but next FR is the one you've been mentioning, Kuja. He could be on the plate for BT rework. Oh, so let's see. What his BT gives is Holy Enchant for the party, Brave up, Brave damage up, Brave cap up, with BT plus, Hatch party brave damage up. Even more brave cap up. Okay, yeah, he definitely yeah, he's on the plate for BT rework. He doesn't have any kind of like HP cap up, which I hope they just don't. That's not the only thing they're just adding. I wish if they do add stuff to BT reworks, they add more than just stats and something like I don't know, something unique. Yeah. Mhm. It's okay. But beside after Kuja is the end of that. But then after Kuja's event is Jesse, and then that's the end of June schedule. But the reworks was Laguna, which his rework is okay. Ash got a significant buff. What are you gonna say about Laguna? Yeah, he's just set up ready for his FR when that comes out. Mm-hmm. Uh, Lana and Rain and Sice. There's another chance you can get a Lana and Rain BT here. But they're not getting that far, so we'll just have to wait on that. Size definitely needs a rework to some extent. Yeah, she needs a rework with the buffs. That's what I hope for with that. Plus, oh yeah, her trap it can have like 3 dumps. That seems to be the standard. Yeah, yeah, it lasts. Yeah, it needs to be strong enough to where like it's built around half, like 2/3 of a F4 is built around that trap, and having it go off multiple times to get up that F4 up percentage going. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Um. After that, Strago Nishtola. Strago, yeah, I think he only has like 2 or 3 dumps in total from his base kit, which is not enough. Ishtola. Let's see. Does how yeah, but I think Brave and HP attacks needs to have way more dumps. Actually no. HP plus the when you have 3 stacks is fine. It does 5 dumps. The regular one, 2 dumps. Maybe might be 3. Might be fine. Better Brave heals maybe. Stone. I yeah maybe. Wait, Stone plus how many dumps? Yeah. Yeah, the Brave and HP attacks, yeah. IOD can definitely have way more dumps than 3 HP dumps. Yeah, and just making it so that she automatically has 3 stacks of her Blood Lily instead of just one. Um, let's see. She could be potential for BT rework. Same with Lana Rain. potentially. All of these have potential. Besides that, new BT characters and returning BT characters for reworks, and we have no idea who those can be. No speculations on who they are. Usually we like to talk about that, but they've been keeping that on the down low. Like we usually rely on them to see if we can dig anything up. No, we couldn't find any. You couldn't find anything except like maybe some new tickets and new score system, but besides that, no new like hints or anything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whether or not it's someone the community likes or not, they're gonna be that vocal minority that be like, fight this person. Yeah. You can. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't appeal to everyone, no matter what. There's always gonna be someone who has things to complain about. But yeah, last thing is they gave an info. They gave a. They said that they're implementing the 10+1 ticket to fix the gem cap problem for JP. At least that's a band-aid fix. Because it's not being removed or anything. It's like a way people can buy costumes again. But you hopefully by the time this like fix comes out, Jessie is still around. Hopefully, yeah, actually she should be. So you, if she comes out with a costume, you can buy it. Yeah, it's just a way you can put some your gems into somewhere, and then you can still buy stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really affect me. It Yeah, but it just means that there's more revenue coming back into the game, so the game can still continue on, which is the main thing. Yeah, yep. No idea either. But but we got through the entire list. Last thing is the one thing you want to talk about, which was prediction of C100. Like, I think we could talk about it a little bit, just speculations, but it's getting closer. Yeah, yeah, they were vague about it. I think it's. I want to. It's not safe to say anything yet, but I just think that with Shunryu coming out for a global next month, unless something drastic happens and then they have to delay it. I think C100 or maybe something new coming out for something big coming out for JP is in the works for potentially next month. It makes sense because these two things sort of align. They tend to like align with each other. Global gets something shiny and new that JP had like a couple months, like 8 months ago, and then JP has something new. Be like, oh, you now we got something. It's like you guys have something else to look forward to in 8 months from now. And if we have, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we're not done with Shinryu you yet because it's still I don't know, it feels so early when like we had since Shinryu came out. Yeah. Mhm. Uh huh. So I think actually we're only 7 months ahead. Our global is 7 months behind actually. So I think it might have been. I don't think they really did anything, or the fact that JP slowed down because of different things. But I don't know. I could be hallucinating, or I can't count. Which probably like the latter. I can't count. All right. Uh, yeah. I mean, okay. Let's end this somewhat on this final note. Okay. Top three characters you think will be the first batch of representing C100, if there is a C100. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And last one. For me, uh, sorry, the only thing I can think about is something I typed in chat. My three picks are Zach, Cloud, and Noctis. I would elaborate more, but I really, 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 really gotta go for reasons. I mean, to be transparent, I got shit really bad. Yeah, when the dinner bell calls, I gotta go. Yeah, I don't want to make a mess of my chair. So yeah, final thoughts, Zodi. Would you like to say close this out? Yeah, yeah. Sadly, 40 couldn't stay for the entire podcast. You may have noticed that he stopped talking pretty early. He had IRL things to deal with when family, and I always told him like, and this always makes sense. With family is number one, and everything else is second. So family obligations come first. But yeah, I'll make sure to put everyone's stuff in the description. And thank you for anyone who is listening or still watching this secretly or looking. But I'll see you guys next month with Zodi and maybe 40. 40 may not, yeah, 40 may not be here because IRL stuff and he's moving. So just heads up. Bye.